Hi, hello, good morning, my young officers. Welcome to Unacademy UPSC Articulate YouTube channel. So this is Nisha Nujumudeen, your educated Unacademy, an expert in Indian economy, current affairs, and MCQs. So here we are with the regular daily ritual, which happens early morning, called as current topics in news for UPSC CSE 2022. So now today, if you see, we have another interesting topic which has gained a lot of attention after the announcement of the Union Budget 2022-23. And the topic of discussion is India's digital rupee, the challenges and opportunities. So we all know that digitalization, or let's say digital currency, and various other perspectives are quite an important topic of discussion. Now, with regard to cryptocurrencies and other perspectives, here we have an interesting topic which has captured the attention after the announcement of our Union Budget 2022 by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. And that is with regard to the launch of the digital rupee by our country India, which the government of India is asking the monetary authority, that is RBI, Central Bank of our country, Reserve Bank of India, to go forward. So now when we are going for the launch of such kind of digital rupee, which is in lieu with the cryptocurrencies and other perspectives, of course there'll be a lot of benefits, and at the same time there'll be a lot of challenges as a whole. So now let's quickly have a look into what are the challenges, at the same time the opportunities as well, the pros and cons of this so-called launch of India's digital rupee by the RBI, which the government of India wants RBI to do. And also taking into consideration the challenges, or let's say the cons, what are the way forward, or let's say what can be done to make it more feasible. And do you think by adopting such kind of digital rupee holistically, will there be some sort of benefit, or will there be more of risk associated? If at all there is a risk, what you can do to overcome it? So in a very, very balanced and diplomatic way, we'll be looking into the different angles of this particular topic, which will be very, very useful for your prelims examination with regard to concepts and other current affairs perspective, with regard to mains examination perspective, and also with regard to interview perspective. So this particular session will be discussed in such a manner. Clear? So yes, Soham, Deepesh, Tejas, good morning all of you. How are you? Yes, Soham. People leaving the application today and you are here for class. Nice to see. Yes, yeah, I'm indeed very happy to see all of you as well. So after the hijab class, I couldn't meet you all. And we know that the hijab class, which we conducted as a special series, due to few reasons, the video has been privated, but nothing to worry. It will be made public very soon. So you all can, keep watching it once again to enrich your knowledge in a very unbiased manner. Let me tell you that. Okay. So yes, and that's a happy morning to all of you. I think Monday morning, we got to start our day fresh with an amazing, motivational quote as well. Don't you think so? So here we are with an amazing motivational quote of the day for my young officers. There are 6 important guidelines in life. What are they? Point number 1, when you are alone, mind your thoughts. 2, when you're with your friends, mind your tongue. Third, when you're angry, mind your temper. When you're with a group, mind your behavior. And rule number 5, when you're in trouble, mind your emotions, because emotional balance is very important. Otherwise, you'll collapse. And 6, when God starts blessing you, mind your ego. And in that ego, I will define ego as take the E and let it go. I repeat, take the E and let it go, because that will make your life more, reforming and refreshing, my young officers. So this is an amazing Monday morning quotes for you people. Clear? Perfect. Before that, guys, the regular schedule of me, you can just follow me via Telegram, Nisha Nujumudeen for UPSC. And now, every day morning 6 a.m. we'll have the so-called current topics in news series, guys. Today, due to some reasons, we couldn't go live early in the morning. That's why we're doing it now. So you will be having this series. So without fail, tomorrow what you do is by 6 o'clock to 6:30 time. Okay, do come live for this current topics in news in the same YouTube channel. And now when the clock strikes 6 p.m. So today is Monday. From February 14th, we'll again kickstart with our special free live classes, guys. UPSC level MCQs for Prelims 2022 along with the 360-degree coverage, and also with the method of approach developed by me called as keyword elimination comparison technique. The unique strategy or method which will give you 100% guaranteed success. To know what that method is all about, and also to test what you have studied with regard to the UPSC CSE or let's say prelims examination perspective, do come at 6 p.m. Can you see a link that is pinned up in the chat box? That is actually the link of my, Unacademy profile. It will take you to this profile. Follow me here, click the follow button, and you can just use the code Nisha IAS Live. I repeat, Nisha IAS Live to watch the classes for free and to download the free content. The same is applicable for the Unacademy paid subscription. Another important news which I wanted to, let you people know is there is an additional 20% discount from whatever fee amount you are taking exclusively only and only using my referral code. For that, you need to contact me. I will forward your contact and mail to the concerned Unacademy team member. They will help you in getting it. Clear? So for getting extra 20% discount for 1, 2 or 3-year Unacademy paid subscription, and also for the personal mentoring program along with the additional coach or mentor that you get from Unacademy through the premium or iconic subscription, you can use the code Nisha IAS Live. And also to be a part of all these amazing batches, Hindi, English, bilingual, to get a lot of offers with regard to the optional test series, etc., etc. Clear? And even there's an option of loan, guys. What you can do is you can even apply for that. And next year, I should see all your names under the Unacademy UPSC Topaka series. All these people whom you can see in the slide, they were actually the iconic learners. If they can do, why not you people? Hannah? So what you do is you can accomplish your mission with Unacademy using the loan option without interest. And again, the code Nisha is live and the 20% discount is absolutely available for you people. Clear? So be it free class or plus class, the code is Nisha is live. Simple as that. I have kept the same code for both the perspectives. Clear? Yes, Kunal, you should continue it soon, ma'am. Exams are coming. Need your KC taking. Definitely, Kunal, I'll be doing it soon. Nothing to worry. And you will have an extra T10 daily current affairs MCQ series also. I'm bringing it soon. I will let you know that. Okay. Yes, Harsha Chaudhary, ma'am, Unacademy scholarship की तैयारी कैसे करें next year की? You can get prepared for following the 6 p.m. class of mine, Harsha. What you do is you can download the app, use the code Nisha is live, and watch the 6 p.m. class for free. So you will get used to the scholarship questions also. Clear? Perfect. So having said all this, it's time for us to get ready. Why? Because we are here to make sure that we are cracking the UPSC CSE examination. Hannah, my young officers. Yes, absolutely. So here we go. Are you all ready? You should be indeed. Very much. Yes or no? People are thinking. Huh? Yes, Kunal. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day, ma'am. To a great educator. Oh, thank you so much. That's a happy Valentine's Day to all my young officers. You know, Valentine is basically something we celebrate a Valentine because in schools and colleges, you know what happened. People think that Valentine is celebrated for the boyfriend, girlfriend, or for the lovers. Come on, that's not the case. Let me tell you that. Why do you actually celebrate Valentine's Day? Is it is in the honor of the 3rd century Roman saint. Okay. And Mr. Saint Valentine, his name is also Valentine. That is why it's called as Valentine's Day. And because of the later folk traditions, it has become a crucial culture, religious, and commercial celebration of all your romance and love in many parts of the globe. And that's why, as a part of romance and love, it has been celebrated. But this is the real reason behind it, guys. And this Saint Valentine, this person, he was said to be a priest actually. And he said to, and basically to, celebrate his death anniversary, or let's say to mark the death anniversary of this particular person, Saint Valentine, who died in 270 AD only, they say that Valentine's Day is celebrated. Actually, it is a death anniversary, let me tell you that. Okay. And this person, this priest, was an amazing soul, where he defied emperor's orders. Okay, he defied that. He completely defied it. And what he used to do is he secretly used to get people married. That they used to do that, So that is the reason he's been quite famous. And that's why we celebrate as a matter of love and romance the Valentine's Day. This is the real story in a short, crisp, and to the point manner I could tell you with regard to Valentine's Day. So next time when somebody comes and asks you what is Valentine's Day, do go and tell them this. Take care. Yes, Rupee, good morning. Yes, Soham, very good. What he said is very good. Before start, we have to give an ovation to Pulwama attack warriors as well, guys, because this is a day which marked a great tragedy as well for our country. That is a very true thing, no doubt in that. Yes, Dania, good morning. Yeah, same to you as well, my girl. So here we are, my young officers. Let's quickly move on to the topic of discussion, which is none other than what? Which is none other than India's digital rupee, a look into its challenges and opportunities, and then the way forward. Henna? So the question here is, after the session is done, I want you people to give me a valid statement as to with regard to this digital currency or rupee. Okay. Are we rising up towards India's own digital rupee? This digital currency is actually a push towards making a country India grow up to that, or are we taking more risk and making ourselves in trouble? So that is something which you need to understand with regard to this particular topic. Clear? So here we are, the digital currency perspective, guys. So why do you think we are studying this particular topic? It is from the area Indian economy. So now recently, as I told you, in the budget of 2022-23, what happened was like the government of India, they announced that the central bank of our country, India, that is RBI, Reserve Bank of India, will issue what? We will issue a digital or online currency. And that too, they said as early as 2022-23, they'll do it. That is the current year. And now when this was announced by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in the budget announcement, what happened? It is one of the crucial decision I can tell you, or let's say the most important decision that most of the major economies are refusing to make in a hurry. Be it the other developed countries or let's say other economies, they will not make this decision just like that in a haste. But then if you see a country, India, just like that, we were so strong enough to say that yes, we are going to launch a digital currency, and that too as early as 2022-23. So this is something which got the attention of so many people. Even when you compare the global economies or the other major economies, in such a hurry-burry manner, they will refuse to make such a decision of launching a new digital rupee currency. But how can India just like that do it? So that has popped up questions in the minds of so many people. Okay. And now there are so many arguments in favor and also against the so-called digital rupee. So if you see the arguments in favor of the so-called online or digital rupee claim that electronic or online representation is India's legal tender, that will definitely add a load of importance, or let's say it will boost the online or digital economy. So that is the one single argument which is in favor of the so-called launch of India's digital rupee, guys. Because since 2015, our country India is focusing on what? Digitalization. So every single thing that promotes our country India towards technological advancements and developments is something that should be the focus of the government, and also it should be passed on to the citizens. We all know that. So taking into consideration that particular scenario, they are saying that, okay, this is an electronic representation of the country India's legal, I repeat, legal tender, guys. So they say, come on, to boost up the online or digital economy, this will be useful. However, though that is an add-on advantage also, see, everything has a lighter and a darker side. Don't you think so? It is also important to evaluate, or let's say have a careful analysis of the risk associated with a hasty transition. I repeat, with a hasty transition to a CBDC. What is CBDC? Central Bank Digital Currency. See, having a cryptocurrency and a blockchain technology called as Bitcoin, which is the most common one, or Ethereum, or let's say the Libra, which is the currency of Facebook, all these things are not the legal ones, right? You can stop them anytime you want. But then because of the surge of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, which illegally by a lot of private cryptocurrency, because of the private cryptocurrencies by private companies, the government said that why don't the monetary authority of a country, India, RBI, involved in this? So why don't we have a central bank's digital currency at the earliest? So that is the reason in a hurry-burry, a country India, in the budget, they made an announcement. So this is the reason why you study this particular topic, and also a short and a quick background understanding of the very same topic. Did you understand? Because recently, if you see, in the in the month of November 2021, last year, we could see that, okay, there should be a ban of all the private cryptocurrencies. That was set by the government of India. And they said they were urging RBI to have a look upon all this managing or functioning of the cryptocurrencies to make it a legal tender. Because we know that cryptocurrencies are kind of illegal tenders. That is very well known to us. So keeping in view all these things, only the sudden launch of digital rupee under the purview of the central bank called as Central Bank Digital Currency is put forward. Did you understand, all of you? So this is what you need to understand before going into detail of this particular topic. Fine? Because every now and then in newspapers, a lot of topics will keep coming, but this is the reality behind it. So now, having understood all these things in a crystal clear manner, let's quickly have a look into what it is all about. Are we really going for the cryptocurrency perspective? Are we really going to embrace another Bitcoin or let's say a cryptocurrency, which is a legal tender? So that is the next point of discussion that we have today. Okay. So now, why do you think that the government really went with such kind of announcement, guys? There should be some reason for it. Simply the government will not do. Already I've told you the reasons as well. That is, we wanted to, boost the digital economy through such kind of electronic representation. Adding more points to that, I can tell you that this announcement made by Nirmala Sitharaman in the budget essentially expresses the government's intention on what? the cryptocurrencies and other online or virtual currencies, as I told you. Really, that is the main intention. See, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and all, they are not legally having a legal tender compared to the other currencies. So let's make it a legal tender. So basically, the intention of government to embrace cryptocurrencies and other virtual currency only, the so-called India's digital rupee was brought in. Or let's say they're saying that they're going to launch it. And if you say, on the other hand, the monetary authority of a country, India, that is RBI, on several occasions, they flagged a load of concerns, I can tell you, with regard to money laundering, terror financing, tax evasion, people who kind of do all killerims to escape paying taxes. With the private cryptocurrencies, they do all kind of nonsense with the private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ether, etc. And that is the reason to avoid all these money laundering and terror financing is very, very important. Compared to tax evasion, money laundering and terror financing is the highest priority to be eliminated. Otherwise, it can cause a lot of issues. So basically, they do all these things or collaterals with the private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ether. So now, why this private? Let the cryptocurrency itself be under the government purview control, or let's say under the control of RBI. So you can avoid such kind of issue. That is the reason why in the budget announcement, the finance minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, said that we are planning to have our own central bank digital currency, CBDC. Did you understand? This is also another important point to be understood. Why the sudden announcement of such kind of CBDC by the budget means. Okay. Yes, RK, what can be favored of CBDC? I will tell you that, do not worry. See, we will be discussing the pros as well as the cons. See, the ones in single line, I can tell you, RK, the advantage of central bank or digital currency is electronic representation of a legal tender. Automatically, the meaning of that is what? You're boosting up the digital or the online economy of your country, India. As short and simple as that. You got the point? Perfect. Yes, Tejash. So now, having understood all this, you need to understand, let's say, you need to have a look into what is the real meaning of digital currency or rupee, as what we are referring to these days. So you shouldn't be confused that digital means you're doing it online. The kind of payment that you make via PhonePe, GPay, Paytm, that is digital or online currency. No. Here, the context of digital rupee and currency is quite different. It is associated with the cryptocurrencies and other virtual or digital or online currencies. Okay. So what is the context of meaning of digital currency here? Let's quickly have a look into the starting portion of it. What is digital rupee? So now it was said that the central bank of a country, India, RBI, what they will do, they will issue the digital currency in the next fiscal year, that is 2020-23. And now that will be called as what? This digital currency, which will be launched by RBI as per the instructions of Government of India, that will be called as digital rupee. And now this will come under the purview of the government, that is to make a private cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ethereum, to reduce in use and to have more of online or digital currencies, like a cryptocurrency under the government purview to prevent all the harmful or the evil effects like tax evasion, money laundering, terrorist financing only. This is brought in. So thus CBDC, a central bank's digital currency, they will use what? An online or an electronic record, or let's say I can call it as a digital token, basically used to represent what? The online or the virtual form of fiat currency of a particular country or a region. This is the meaning of what? This is the so-called meaning of digital rupee in simple terms. Clear? And what is fiat currency? Something that has a legal backing. What is fiat currency, guys? I have told you many a times that is fiat money in a broad sense. I can tell you it consists of every kind of money that are made a legal tender by the government. Take care. The term is, however, normally they will be reserved for, let's say, a legal tender, paper money, or let's say coin, I can say. Is it clear? The US dollar, the pound, the sterling, the euro, all these examples of fiat currency. Take care. They're all true commodity currencies, and in one or the other, they are a form of fiat currency. That's an example of fiat currency. So some people will be confused, is Bitcoin a fiat currency? So Bitcoin comes under what? Blockchain technology, or let's say the cryptocurrency. So people will think that, do you think Bitcoin is a fiat currency? Let me tell you, no. Bitcoin is not at all a fiat currency. Okay? And the reason is that Bitcoin is not a legal tender. A currency that doesn't have a legal tender recognition, which is issued by the government, cannot be called as a fiat currency. Bitcoin doesn't come under that. Now, the government of India wants to make sure that such kind of cryptocurrencies are coming under the legal tender, let's say government purview. That is why they've come with something called as digital rupee, which is in lieu with the CBDC, central bank's digital currency. Clear? Because Bitcoin is free from any central authority and all. You got the point. That is the whole logic out here, my young officers. Okay. So this is the meaning of what the so-called digital rupee. Now, adding a little more importance to this particular topic, the static portion of it, just this digital rupee, what are the uses? What do you think could be the use of such kind of digital rupee? Point number one, it will allow the users to transfer the purchasing power. From where? For how can the users transfer their purchasing power, guys? How can we do that? From the deposit accounts into the smartphone wallets. That is right from the deposit account to your smartphone wallets, whatever you have. I repeat, the wallets in the form of online tokens, which like cash will be liability of the Reserve Bank of India. So it becomes at your fingertips. Just like how you say Google is at your fingertips, so does the CBDC. Central bank's digital currency will be at your fingertips, even more flexible compared to the other online modes of payment, or let's say other financial transactions that you do. And thus, a digital rupee will be something like a bank note minus the ATMs, the automatic teller machines. Clear? It will be something like a bank note minus your ATM. Please note this. For your prelims perspective, this will be useful. So they will ask a digital rupee will be like banknotes minus ATM. So if you think what is minus ATM? It is a reality. It doesn't add ATM into it. They'll minus that because it's completely free of all the physical mode, right? It is an online ledger. That is why. The whole point is they have made it legal rather than not having a legal tender, because it's coming under the purview of RBI, which is the central bank of a country and the monetary authority. Now, a quick look into the central bank's digital currency. Do you think it is useful? I think RK has asked what are the reasons in favor. One reason I already told you. The second reason is C. When there is a central bank's digital currency, automatically it is meeting the future payment needs in a digital economy. And they will improve what the availability and usability of what the central bank money through the government goes. And also it will be able to address all the consequence issues with regard to when there is a decline in the cash or other cash related transactions, because we know that cash is the king of Indian economy even today. No doubt in that. And also it will also avoid what the risk of new forms of private money creation, thereby supporting competition, efficiency, innovation in what the payment perspective. Clear? Now, directly moving on to the topic of discussion, let's quickly have a look into what are the arguments in favor, or let's say the advantages of having such a kind of central bank's digital currency or digital rupee, which has been decided by the government to be launched by the RBI. What could be the arguments in favor? Point number one, it is said that if we are going to have a digital currency or rupee but under the purview of central bank, now the CBDC will aim to bring in the best of both worlds. What is it, best of both worlds? Point number one, the convenience and security of all the online or digital form, that is at your convenience, and also the security perspective like cryptocurrency, you will be able to ensure a convenience and security of that, and the regulated reserved backed money circulation of the conventional or the traditional banking system. So along with the security perspective, because when you talk about cryptocurrencies, the factor called security is a little bit less there. We all know that. And we got to accept that also. Don't you think so? Yes. So now the factor called cryptocurrencies, when you are making it legalized, when the central banks, the digital currency, when they're coming under that, automatically security is there. And also the convenience also comes over there. You got the point? That is the biggest argument in favor of what? A digital currency. Second thing is that they're saying that with such kind of central banks digital currency, they'll be able to overcome, or let's say mitigate what? The risk of losses that all the Indian depositors will face when they're dealing with all the commercial banks, because multiple times when the Indian depositors, when they have a lot of issues with the commercial banks, when you have a digital currency, automatically the risk of losses which those Indian depositors are facing can be mitigated or reduced to a greater extent with the help of what? Digital currency. So now, don't you think so? This is giving a notion or paving a way which is customer friendly? Yes. Now, automatically when it is customer friendly, now with regard to depositors, you can attract more and more deposits into the banking system. Because what is banking? Banking is the kind of financial statement again where you accept deposits and you lend the money what you get as deposit as loan to the customers. Only when you have more and more deposits in the bank from the public, you'll be able to utilize this money for the various activities of the economy by giving loans for various purposes or various investment purposes and all, right? So now this deposit factor is quite important. So to capture that, this will also help be useful in this context. Did you understand? Yes, so what is it? But it will sure be prone to digital threat, won't it? That we'll discuss when we talk about the disadvantages or the cons of this particular topic. Now we are focusing on the arguments. Having understood the arguments in favor, or let's say in support of why you need to have such kind of digital currency, will make you understand, okay, having all these advantages, we do have some challenge also. Then when you go for way forward, your discussion will be completely holistic. Did you understand? Now, the next important argument in favor of digital currency, or why do you need a digital currency, is we the consumers or customers, we may find an electronic rupee to be a safer alternative to bank deposits. See, that is true. What if a bank has been robbed? So think about the Bollywood Doom Wala movie. You know what is Doom doing? They are robbing all the banks and all. Na? Doom Machale, there is a famous song also, right, of Hrithik and all, and John Abraham. So now that is also showing that. Even Amir Khan's recent version also shows about that, robbing of a bank. So now, when you go and deposit your money there also, see, there are risk associated, no doubt in that. So now they're saying that we the consumers or we the customers, we will find electronic or e-rupee to be much safer alternative compared to all the bank deposit. And that is, which is underpinning rupees 76 trillion in yearly or annual real-time payments via your apps like Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm and all. That's a reality, guys, no doubt in that, because it is at your fingertips. So the safety is twice or let's say 3 times or 4x times greater than what you have in the bank deposits. Clear? That is something to be understood. Yes, team Imao, good morning to you as well. Now, and when they purchase, these days everything, see, you, me, everyone, not only the COVID perspective, COVID has actually added more advantage of making purchases quite online. And whatever products we're getting today are of good quality also. It's not like before that you need to physically go and get. Rather, everything is online today. So now, since the purchase goes online, the basis of trust in demand deposits, that is when you want to withdraw the money. What are DD, guys? Demand deposit. That is, for example, I have deposited 10 lakhs in the bank. Now, giving a check, I can withdraw this 10 lakhs within the time period. That's called as demand deposit. At the demand, you will get it. But if it is before the maturity period, in the context of fixed account or something, then I have to pay a penalty. Otherwise, no need. So demand deposit is when you're able to withdraw the money at your demand using a check or whatever it is from the bank. So now, when the purchases go online, the basis of trust in demand deposit, that they convert to cash at face value. That will also may reduce, guys. Why? Due to theoretical constraint. So now, again, the so-called digital currency make it quite useful, because we're using apps like Phone Pay, Google Pay, Paytm and all that. Because it is a kind of alternative to all the bank deposits, because you're doing everything electronically. That is e-rupee perspective. Did you understand? And now it comes under the direct purview of the central bank also, that is RBI. And that's talking about the e-currency, guys. Do you think e-currency can do a lot more? Of course it can. See, an electronic e-currency compared to the physical currency you have in the bank deposit, you see, this or electronic currency could keep the notion of convertibility grounded in daily reality. That is true. And you can eliminate the need for an expensive network of correspondent banks to settle cross-border payments, to do all the complicated procedures and all. Rather, by your own self, fatafat via the use of a smartphone on the wallet, you can fatafat finish it off at the earliest. And if you see, for all the NRI people, the non-residential Indians, or let's say the Indians are working abroad. Now, when I work abroad, obviously I'll send home to my, money to my people at home. So now remittances charges, that charge, this charge, oh my goodness, it will be too much. So now for all the Indians working abroad, now for example, you want to send money to your home, it will become quite simpler and cheaper. So now when it is becoming simpler and cheaper through the use of electronic or e-currency, guys, compared to the normal procedures, what happens? It is resulting in huge savings for our country, India. Because we are the world's top recipient of remittances. Don't forget that. India is the world's top recipient of what? All the remittances. So now, you are making transactions online only there also. Via the net or just whatever kind of transactions. But then, when this is the kind of electronic or e-currencies through wallet format, that is your central banks or digital CBDC, now it becomes quite easier and cheaper. You got the point. So we are ending up in huge savings for our country, India, by not ending up paying all the transaction costs or service charges and stuffs like that. So this is another important point to be understood, why the central bank digital rupee is to be launched at the earliest by our country, India. Because see, though we need to boost up the digital economy also on one side, with regard to remittances, if you see the state of Kerala, you have a lot of people working in Middle East countries. So they do keep sending money every now and then. And that is one of the biggest factor why we are the world's top recipient of remittances. So keeping this particular point in mind, yeah, to have a huge saving for our country, it is also quite important. And to make the process quite simpler and cheaper. You got the point? So this is something to be kept in mind. Clear? Yes, Soham, what is it? Electronic currency can contribute a lot like virtual world. Really? Or social media has made the movie halls and parks more crowded today. Yeah, that's true. Now, see, you need to go with the flow. You need to adopt the flow. That is, in Malayalam, there's a famous saying that they talk about the time. So when time passes, kalam mare aalum mare. Matlab, you keep changing when the time also flies or changes. You need to adapt to those changes for your good or for the betterment. So I think such kind of digital currency is also a good thing. But as of now, because we are just seeing only the advantages. When you just talk only about the advantages or the arguments why the central bank has brought in a digital currency, yeah, you will feel, chalo, this is a very good option. But when you deep dig into it, you get to know the challenges or the risk associated. Then you kind of mix match them. Okay, if this advantage is there but this challenge is there, what will we do? Now comes a solution called as way forward. And that is what we are doing in every single session, right? And that is the way a UPSC CSE aspirant should study also. Let me tell you that. Now, having understood all the importance and the advantages of having a digital currency launched by a central bank, as I told you, everything has a light and a darker side. So does the CBDC as well. Here we go. What are the arguments against the digital currency? Why do you think you shouldn't, in a hurry go for the launch or the announcement of this digital currency by the central bank? Point number one, if electronic or let's say e-cash becomes popular, okay, it becomes quite popular, and the central bank of a country, India RBI, places no limit or ceiling on the amount that can be stored in all your mobile wallets. Now what happens? There is no limit and no ceilings of what money you can store in your mobile wallets. If RBI is doing that, then the weaker banks may struggle. Why? To retain the low cost deposits. There'll be zero deposit in the banking perspective of bank accounts, I can tell you. So that will cause a lot of issues for the commercial banks to get wiped out. So already we know that a lot of commercial banks, because of the issue of NPA, non-performing assets or bad loans, they have been shut down. And to revive them back to track, there was a merger of all the small banks with big banks. We know what was happening, right? So now, when such kind of e-cash becomes again popular, and if there is no limit and all, automatically weaker banks will struggle because they need to retain the low-cost deposits. And now, even as these, point number two is, these small banks lose that cushion or comfort. Now the lenders will be reluctant to shed their loan assets and sacrifice profits. That is a reality. So automatically what happens, the commercial banks which are smaller in size get hurted or let's say get hit harder at the point. So now the government should do something to make sure that they are also being protected, or they are not being subjected to such kind of low cost deposits and the comfort zone. You got the point. So this is another argument in favor of what? Argument against the digital currency. Clear? But when you talk about the arguments against also, there is a clause. If RBI is placing no limit. So in the way forward, if RBI is placing a limit, then things can be a little bit better. But if they place no limit on the amount of cash that can be stored, then it becomes a question mark. Clear? So catch hold of this point, guys, under the challenges. So you will be able to figure out your way forward in a much refined manner. Okay? Point number 3. Now, under the challenges, there are less liquid balance sheets. Again, what happens? You can leave them vulnerable to bank runs, wiping off the entire banks. And I can tell you that with regard to financial stability, all the economies are mindful of the threat to what? The financial stability. We all know that. And now the advanced and the developed nations, they're also worrying about what? Dwindling use of banknotes, especially after COVID. No doubt in that, because this pandemic has not really affected the developing or the emerging economies, my young officers. It has had a huge shake or a hit on the major economies of the world as a whole. Globally, the entire world is being affected. So now, especially after COVID, even the developed nations are quite worried about the dwindling use of banknotes. So just think about the developing economy like India. Of course, will be very much, mindful and through the threat of such kind of stability with regard to financial perspective. You got the point. That is another important, argument against what? The digital currency. And now, the next important point is, yes, Deepesh, what is it? Then all these small banks have to follow the Chidewala concept of Harshit Mehta's web series. Harshit Mehta's web series, I don't know, 2 to 3 on hits there you will get. Do you think the small banks and the other banks will keep, commercial banks will keep quiet till the CBDC is implemented completely? They will fight for it. Unless and until they get a solution or a way forward. See, why are we discussing the challenges? When something has an advantage, obviously you'll have a disadvantage also. But why are we discussing the disadvantages? Because how can we solve the issue? For that is the reason we have something called as way forward. That is the reason UPSC has also made sure that in the mains examination, they normally ask you questions in such a pattern like discuss, elaborate, critically evaluate and all. So to know about the topic, the advantage, disadvantage and then the way forward. So in the way forward, the government schemes can be written, your notion can be written, and then how do you conclude them in a balanced way? That actually talks about the capacity of an individual to analyze the situation and find a solution to it. And that shows whether you're fit enough to rule the country, India as a whole, as an efficient young officer. That is the reason, guys, in your mains examination also, questions are coming like that. Otherwise, they can just ask you the concept and leave it like that. Nah, they never do that. So there are multiple reasons why the UPSC mains questions are also framed in such perspective. Clear? And this is a very, very important topic. You can expect questions for your prelims and also mains. Let me tell you, mains as well from economy. No doubt in that. This is quite important, guys, because you have a lot more to talk about this. Clear? And this comes under monetary policy. So monetary policy itself is a very, very important hit list topic. No questions can be without coming from this area. As for the last 3 years, solid prediction of my course is concerned, and you have seen that in the exam paper also. This year also same thing. It comes under that. So be a little careful with this topic. Even for the mains as well. Clear? Yes, Imao, 360 degree. Obviously, yes, we need to do that. Yes, so ma'am, do not give 2 to 3 today. Maybe someone is keeping an eye where I am lost. You will not get 2 to 3, so we'll get 4 to 5 on your heads today, especially. Come for the 6 p.m. class, then I'll tell you balance of that. Anyways, back to what we were discussing with regard to the arguments against digital currency. Okay. Now, when you talk about the cash, okay, unlike perfectly anonymous cash, I repeat, unlike perfectly anonymous cash, most of the central bank's digital currencies, it will be designed in such a way that the central bank will be able to trace the spending. So they come under the direct purview. A proper monitoring, regulation, and review is happening. You cannot do Kallatram just like that. So the whole point is such kind of cryptocurrencies, or let's say the bitcoins and all, you wanted to make sure that these virtual currencies are also having a legal tender. That is why the CBDC, central bank digital currency, is brought in. So don't you think so? Every inch of their movement will be traced by the central bank? Yes. So government intervention will be too much there through RBI, no doubt in that. So like the anonymous, perfectly anonymous cash, guys, the CBDC will be designed in such a way that the central bank will be able to trace the spending. But how can you say that central bank tracing the spending could be a disadvantage, guys? How can you say this point comes under the arguments against this currency? Because if you see, when central bank is doing that, the transactions conducted with them may not be visible to payment apps. Let me tell you, that is the thing. Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm are the payment apps. Now, when the central bank is able to trace the spending, what happens automatically? Whatever transactions been conducted with them, it was not even visible to the payment apps and also to the financial or fintech firms. Now they will start losing access to some data being mined for cheap loans, those who do not have collateral or security. So automatically it becomes a centralistic approach. Your freedom, or let's say the individuality to so many things get lost. It gets really decreased, or let's say it get lost. You understand? That is the reason why you say this digital currency is one of the point to be noted, a term to be noted with much of caution. Now, having understood the pros and cons, or let's say the arguments why you need a digital currency and why you do not want digital currency, let's quickly have a look into what another important topic, that is, where do the other countries stand about digital currency? See, talking about India doesn't make a sense at all, always. You need to understand why India is trying to make a sense, because if other countries of the globe are doing it, then why can't we also implement it? Because we need to take inspirations from somewhere or the other. So does the other countries. So now, having understood the situation like this, let's quickly have a look into where do the other countries stand about the digital currency. Yes, Deepesh, what is it? Do you think this digitization of currency can reduce money laundering and also corrupt practices regarding money? See, money laundering and terrorist financing, to an extent, digitalization can reduce. But then see, this digital currency is in the context of cryptocurrency. Already they are having not a legal tender. But the government through RBI, they're trying to make it a legal tender. But if they are so smart enough, they can even do all the loopholes and Kallatram to that also. I can never say completely it can reduce the money laundering, because we have not yet seen the result. We have proposed to implement it at the earliest, or launch it at the earliest. So we have to wait and see how it is functioning. So already we have the Financial Action Task Force, FATF, to measure countries, involved in money laundering and terrorist financing, and to rank countries as good list, grey list, black list, and all. Right. So now this one particular digital currency which has been brought in, we have to wait and see after the implementation how far it is working. Unless and until we cannot, give a short answer as to yes, it can do. That will be quite, fancy enough for me to say that. Okay, let it be implemented, then we'll come to it. Yes, Dipesh, they are not. India is not that smart. We know, guy. India, Baba. No, no, no. See, India is of course smart. Hamara desh, of course smart. We can never say that. See, we are not good enough. The whole point is how we implement. See, these great ideas, these great, confidence that we have compared to any other major economies, we have then and there taken a decision. Yes, we are going to do it. So that is a big confidence the country India is having. But the whole notion here is how we are going to take it forward, how we are going to implement it effectively. There only the success or the failure of that particular concept lies. That is what we're discussing now. You got the point. So that is to be understood in this kind of perspective. Clear? So now having understood all this, let's quickly have a look into what the other countries stand, or let's say the notion about digital currency. If you see, not only India, there are a few other countries already who has been having your CBDC, central bank digital currency, in some form or the other. There are countries who are having that. If you see in 2020, the Central Bank of Bahamas, they issued what? Digital currency. So now there are examples. You may think that UK and US are the countries to have digital currencies. No, they still do not have it, guys. Whereas if you see Central Bank of Bahamas, they have a digital currency. And if you see more and more central banks across the world, they are beginning to explore the viability, usefulness and value of such kind of online or digital currencies. And out of that more and more central banks, the Central Bank of India is one among them. And that is why we are also trying to implement it at the earliest, which is in lieu of the digitization, or let's say boosting of the digital economy, which is again very important for moving us toward the concept called as developed economy very soon. Clear? And if you see, the only large economy where a central bank's digital currency is being experimented on a national scale is where, of course, our neighbor China. It has been experimented, guys, and they had the compulsion, or let's say they had the force to go for a central bank or digital currency. Why? Because in view of the absence of competition, the two large players in digital payment, that is all the developed countries. So now, when there was an absence of competition, two large players in digital online payment, now China took the opportunity. Because China want to be what? This Shaguni want to be the superpower. We all know that also. Hai na? So now, like Mahabharata, Pandava, Kaurava, India, Pakistan, and who's the one who creates the issue among the Pandavas and Kauravas? Shaguni. So does China for these two countries as well. Not only these two countries, wherever they get opportunity, they do that. We all know that also, right? So now, because there was an absence of competition, two large players in online or digital payment, China took the opportunity. And the only economy or large economy with regard to population where central bank's digital currency has been implemented is, or let's say experimented for the entire country, was China. If China can do, being a large economy, after China, India ranked number 2 with regard to what? The population. So why can't we do it? That is the reason. Another reason why a country, India, also fatafat went for what? The proposal, launch of the CBDC, central bank's digital currency. Clear? And if you see, banknotes in Sweden account, take care, whatever is there, for 1% of the money supply, guys. I'm telling you, banknotes in Sweden, they account for 1% of the money supply. Yet, the risk bank, the Swedish central bank, is in no hurry to embrace what? A CBDC. Even the Swiss bank does not want to embrace central bank's digital currency. But then the other economies want to do that. In spite of the banknotes in Sweden, they account 1% money supply. Also, they do not want to do that. The Swedish central bank does not even in a hurry to embrace that. But the other economies, including India, is in a hurry to explore, because we feel that this is going to really benefit us to a greater extent. So I'm just telling you the stand of other nations with regard to the digital currency. Okay. Now, having understood this, if you see there are few of the small countries like UCAD and Tunisia and a few Scandinavian countries, you won't believe these countries, guys, they rank number 1 for the happiness index, for human development index, and every kind of index. Let me tell you, they already launched official digital currencies. Can you believe? All these small countries like UCAD and Tunisia, and also some Scandinavian countries, they already have an official digital currency. That too in a temporary or a pilot mode. That is, they are testing now, and then they got implemented officially. You got the point. And if you see China, of course, they are the big large nation. China is reportedly on the anvil of launching its official yuan digital currency. Already they have implemented it, I can tell you, on a large scale. They are experimenting it on a large scale. And the impact of such digital currency initiative of China and Libra, Facebook currency Libra, where 4 billion users are there, that would be felt globally also, because China will try to penetrate that into every other country to show their power. No doubt in that. And now, if the US regulators give a green signal to Libra, which is a kind of cryptocurrency, now all the tech biggies may navigate their way into Indian banking system, because they have a load of implications for what? The financial stability. That is again adding up to more advantage, you understand? And thus I can tell you that India is at an inflection point, and we can leave from UPI to CBDI. Unified payment interference to central bank digital currency is what we are seeing. That is, the move has to be taken in that perspective. It is said that if we are moving from the UPI, Unified Payment Interference, to the central bank digital currency, automatically it may add to 2 to 3% of GDP extra, the gross domestic product of a country, they are saying, which is indeed something that we should embrace. And even if we reap 1%, it adds over what? $25 billion per year. That is actually what they are predicting or saying in order to embrace the CBDC, central bank digital currency, for a country, India. But we have seen the challenges also, or the risk associated with that also. If you're able to overcome those associated risks, then this should be a great move. No doubt in that. See, both sides you need to see. You can't be biased in one particular perspective. In both angles, we need to understand what exactly it is. Clear? And thus, if you see the other nations, what the other nations have to understand, or what the other nations will have to do with regard to this is, after 5 years of weighing options, I can tell you that the Swedish Monetary Authority, they still take a final decision on whether they have to issue an electronic krona or what. Even they are still in a confusing stuff. But then there are other economies, Fatafat, who are in the move, including India, to have an electronic rupee called as CBDC. And if you see with regard to the United States of America, the US Federal Reserve Bank is also seeking the public view on whether they should provide an official tender to complete or to compete against such kind of private stable coins, which is riding on the dollar, which is the world's most popular unit of account. They're all in question mark. That's what I said. Even the major economies of the world or countries, they're still in a dilemma or a question mark to implement it effectively. But India, when other countries are even thinking not to do it in a hurry, we have just said, okay, in the year 2022-23, we are going to do this. That is what we have said. You understand? So that is something to be, understood. And that's if you see with regard to euro. Okay, the stand of European nations with regard to digital currencies, a digital euro is in a 24-month investigation, 2 years investigation. And if everything is going well, they are also in the pilot mode. They do want to implement it very soon. They're taking a 2-year, gap, or let's say 2-year time period. And it is said that in this experimental time, if everything goes well, now by 2025, the European Central Bank will offer what? The European Central Bank's digital currency. So all these countries are taking a pilot test, they are running it over, and then they're implementing. But India is not like that. Fatafat, let's do it. You understand? And there is a strong valid reason for us also, which we discussed in the arguments in favor of it. That is the reason. And now what about Japan, guys? See, with regard to Japan perspective, Japan may delay the introduction of its currency, they said. And they say they're planning to introduce it by 2026. Again, another 5 years is there. Now, having understood all this, guys, why is India in a hurry? Because of digitalization? Because we want to develop very fast? No, nothing. Simple. China is already doing this experiment on a national scale because of the absence of competition of 2 large players in digital payment. Now India is very smart. We are highly diplomatic. If they can do, why not we? Because it is a high time that, because we are not facing competition from other large players, be it US or other countries. So it's time for us to implement it and make sure that we are capturing a great market there. And for that, you can take the supporting points, the arguments in favor of digital currency for that. You got the point? Now, we have seen few arguments which were against the digital currency. But having said that and having understood the other nations in the entire globe, what is its stand or what are they planning with regard to digital currencies, you can never see no country is saying no to it. But they are pushing it forward like 2025, 26 or let's say 24 like that. Another 2 years, 3 years, 5 years like that. Nobody is saying no, but then they're taking a little more time. But India didn't want to take a more time, rather we're in a hurry. That is the reality here. So having understood that, we need to clearly look into what are the real challenges or issues associated with issuing a digital rupee. Though we saw the arguments against digital rupee, also some challenges are really to be understood, guys. If a digital rupee has been issued, what are the challenges? Point number 1, challenges to the entire banking system. How? How can that be the case? Here we go. It is said that the impact such kind of digital or online rupee on the banking system is not clearly understood. That is true. What is the real impact that you can have on it is not completely defined, but still they say there are some loopholes. For example, if the central banks digital currencies, it is said that they are indeed what? One second. They are said they are indeed efficient vehicles for retail savers. Now, if the central bank digital currencies are efficient vehicles for all the retail savers, don't you think so? The bank deposit will be in a big question mark because it is adversely affecting the bank deposit. And hence, there may be an impact on the role of banks in creation of credit or money or with regard to the RBI's monetary policy, etc., etc. So yes, this impact of digital rupee on bank system is actually causing a challenge. Further, if you see Sweden's Risk Bank, okay, which launched its e-krona project in the year 2017, is still studying the need and potential impact of what electronic e-krona in Sweden's economy. So still they are studying; they are not able to completely arrive at a conclusion. So that is the reason, guys, because they want to know whether this digital rupee is really going to benefit to a greater extent. There'll be a disadvantage, but then if 90% advantage is there, 10% disadvantage you can resolve through a solution or way forward effectively. There is no issue. So still they are studying on it. You got the point. Yes, Deepesh, what is it? If Indian digital currency works for us, okay, then we'll definitely going to meet the major portion of US dollar with regard to Indian rupees in international market, definitely going to help a lot like the monthly machine. Yeah, that is true. See, you need to understand that we are a developing economy. That doesn't mean that tomorrow, or let's say in the coming days, we can never be developed. We never know fatafat when we can attain the position, even beating up the top economies like US or let's say other countries. See, but obviously US is always the top country, no doubt in that. But such kind of initiative is actually pushing us to that forefront. You got the point. So now one of the important challenges with associated with the so-called issuing of digital rupees, the challenges to the entire banking system. Next is threat to financial stability. Yeah. So normally, though you talk about financial stability perspective also, for example, okay, if the central bank of a country, India, RBI, is offered interest rate on such kind of digital or online rupee, now what happens? Automatically, it is directly competing with all the banks, the commercial banks. Now, if the regulator, that is RBI, ends up competing with the regulated entities, the banking system will obviously see erosion in deposits, complete freezing out, or let's say complete zero deposits. Automatically the financial stability of the banking sector gets threatened. That is very true. So now again, if you see something, they never say it will be threatened. You can see the clause. I repeat, the clause if coming there. So there is a solution for this is what they're trying to say. You got the point. Though we talk about the challenges, also there is a solution as well. The next is no incentive to switch to digital rupee for user. So now how can this be a challenge, guys, associated with issuing digital currency? See, this is from the point of view of a user. If you are or if you or me, we are a users. From a user standpoint, okay, there is no real incentive that you or me get to switch to what the central bank digital currency, as a growing proportion of retail transactions are already done digitally, or let's say by using all the unified payment interference based fast payment system like Google Pay, GPay, Paytm and all. So what incentive we get? See, already we'll think that, see, we have a QR code scanning, we have the online perspective peer-to-peer transactions, already we are doing online. So what is that one thing which will give us more of incentives, or let's say more of encouragement to switch to CBDC? Anybody will think. So there is no extra incentive to switch to a digital rupee for user from the common user's point of view. That is also another important challenge associated with regard to what issue of digital rupee. So something has to be done for this. Then this can change because already we have all this UPI based fast payment system now. Then why becomes a question in the minds of so many people? That is another challenge. Next is potential cyber security threat. See, this is another important challenge, guys, which has to be analyzed very, very closely for the fact that our country, India, already we are facing many, many cyber security threats. We know that with the advent of so-called digital currencies. Don't you think so? The cyber attacks will even increase and threaten the digital theft like empty gogs, bankruptcy case and all. Yes. So that threat is always there. The cyber security threat is always kind of, a dark dream, I can tell you, which is in the minds of so many people. That is the biggest challenge. And next is operational issues. See, with regard to the, when once you implement the digital currency, it is said that with regard to the executions and operations, there will be so many issues with regard to the implementation of central bank digital currency, including the KYC, know your customer norms and privacy of data. It will not be possible at all, where many a times you will intrude into the privacy of the user as well. So that is also another important challenge associated with what, with regard to issuing of digital currency. Next is end of privacy. That is very, very important to be noted. See, privacy is something which you, me, everybody requires. Don't you think so? Now they say that the central bank digital currency, if it is implemented now, this digital currency, it is a compulsion that they must collect certain basic information of an individual. So only if they have those information, they the person can prove that he is the holder of that digital currency. So your private, let's say the privacy of you is being sneaked up in a much, much deeper manner. So this kind of basic information, okay, which I am giving or you are giving to for the so-called digital currency of central bank, they can be sensitive one, like the identity of a person, the fingerprints and subkuch like that. So you will think that ma'am in Aadhaar, which is a unique biometric, we are giving a fingerprint and subkuch like that. See, but that is for your data perspective. Here it is in the context of digital currency perspective. Here, there are so many issues of financial stability, cybersecurity and all. So when there is a potential threat with regard to cybersecurity, giving a person's unrelated fingerprints will be a huge issue. So keeping that in mind, the context of privacy, that becomes a big question mark. That's why they say end of privacy is another important challenge associated with what? With such kind of CBDC. And further, if you see, the central bank digital currency will leave a digital trail, even with the phone which is turned off. Come on. The phone is turned off, how can they leave a digital trail? For example, trails such as paying for food, fare and lodging. So that is again causing a lot of issue. Without a consent knowledge, it is happening now. So these are the biggest challenges or risk associated with what? For the issuing of such kind of digital currency. Clear? Yes, Deepesh, what is it? But what if we completely make the digital payment indigenous only? Then it's gonna help, right? See, completely digital payment. Are we not doing digital transactions? Are we not having the UPI based transactions like PhonePe, Google Pay, Paytm, etc., which is in purview with the NPCI, National Payment Corporation of India? Yes. So now if this is coming, what is that incentive and what is the extra that you will get? So that only then you can move into this now. Here we are talking about the cryptocurrencies and other virtual currencies. To bring that in lieu, or let's say to make that a legal tender, only the government is doing all this. You need to understand that also. You got the point. The government is making a very smart move here. They're not that stupid enough to do things just like that. They're very smart enough. We need to understand that also. Yeah. Now, having understood all this, what do you think could be the way forward? Or why the rush for digital rupee? So you understood the arguments in favor, arguments against, the stand of other countries, the global countries with regard to digital currency or rupee, and also the real challenges. So you can see more than the arguments in favor, the challenges and the risk are even more. So we got to find a way to solve one by one, because unless and until we solve the issue of privacy, cybersecurity threat, operational issues, financial stability, and incentive, which and also the challenges for the entire banking system, we cannot implement it effectively. Once we implement, also a lot of things will keep on revolving, making it a complete failure rather than a complete success. You got the point. So we need to be very careful that when we launch something, it got to give us at least 80% success. Though 20% you have the faults also, we can rectify it. It shouldn't be the other way around. 20% success and 80% failure. No, that cannot be the case. You got the point. So you got to be very rational, or let's say you got to have a rationalistic approach in dealing with it. Now, why do you think there should be, a rush for digital rupee? See, taking into consideration all what we discussed, from my point of view and also from the point of view of a country, India, in a very diplomatic and balanced way, I can tell you that India's rushed, also that is India's rushed deadline seems to be at least partly a response to all the cryptocurrencies. Really, that's a reality. That's a real reason why there's a rush for digital rupee by country India, guys, because it's partly a response to all the cryptocurrencies out there, which is again not having a legal tender. To make a legal tender, we are doing this. And though it is hard to see how an electronic rupee can discourage the public from getting from the get rich quick lure of the farmer, this is a reality. There is one reason. One is to address the cryptocurrency issue at the earliest, making a legal tender. Second reason why we are hurrying for such kind of digital rupee compared to other countries is there may be desire to head off China. See, I told you this before. China, because of the absence of competition of two large players, nicely they are implementing on a national scale and they are testing it. So now, fatafat to capture China and to make sure that they're not leading over us. Basically, to head off China, which is also set to launch the electronic CNY, Chinese yuan renminbi only, India is doing this. See, I told you very clearly, India is very smart. They will never allow China to let's say the Shangri to play its game in a better manner. So now what we are doing indirectly, you see how diplomatic we are. We have a purpose, but though the other countries, be it US or be it Europe or be it Japan, they're taking time also. India very well knows that China will attack them at the earliest, and being a very big country. Again, India is also a big country, no doubt in that. With regard to population, I'm talking. So now to really head off China only, we are doing all this. So at least we are having a better place there. That is a real reason, my officers. Let me tell you that. Because China is intending to promote a rival to the dollar in cross-border trade and finance, which can cause a huge issue. So now, again, US is in lieu with whom, or let's say in tie-up or in a better relation as per today's current data with regard to India. they are in good terms with India. Let's say US is in good terms with us compared to China. So now when China is trying to promote rival to the dollar in cross-border trade and finance, we'll be able to catch hold of it if we are having a better place in the so-called digital currency perspective. That is why the CBDC has been rushed by a country, India. So without a reason, we are not doing. Though we have challenges, though we have other issues also, come on. This is one solid reason why we are doing this. Did you understand? So I think now you will start talking in favor of digital currency because this is something to be addressed. But at the same time, we have so many challenges and issues also. So what do we do for that? For that, we need to go for a way forward. No doubt in that. So what is the way forward? Having understood the importance or the rush why we are really behind digital rupee is, it's important to overcome the challenges. So here we have the way forward, guys. One is a well-evaluated implementation. That is, with depleting usage of all the paper currency, I can tell you that there is a quick need to popularize the electronic and online platforms of currency, guys, because this will make it more efficient in high physical cash use economies like India, because we are the king of cash. Even today, 90% of transactions happens in cash. I can never see the data as below that. People have resorted to the online payments, but still cash plays the role of king and queen in the Indian economy. So now, in an economy where cash is the monarch or king, this will definitely help us. The electronic platform popularization will definitely help our country, India, to go ahead. And however, a properly planned and well evaluated implementation of such a crucial important decision is very important, because hasty implementation will result in what? More losses than gains. So you got to be very careful. Just like that, if you take a decision without a proper planning and evaluation, come on, the losses at our end. So we got to make sure that we are not ending up in losses. So such kind of hasty decision should not be the case. So a well-evaluated implementation is very important, taking into consideration what? The associated risk and challenges with regard to the implementation or issuing of such kind of digital currency by a central bank. Did you understand, all of you? That is one of the most important way forward to be considered. Clear? Now, KYC norms, the strict KYC norms. It is said that many a times the KYC norm, in the challenges, what did you see? We saw that the operational issues will be there, one of the challenges. So now let's overcome that issue, because KYC is very important, giving a way to the privacy perspective also. We cannot touch upon the privacy perspective, right? So now we need to make sure that the know your customer norms are quite strict. See, a digital rupee may well be a boon. It could be a gift as well, for the fact that, for one thing, it may not be a bad idea for the monetary authority, or let's say RBI, because we're bringing in more and more technology to put the bank management on notice that they need to stop taking depositors for granted. They need to make sure that depositors are regulated and utilized in a proper way. That is one thing. That is one important thing. And there is no need to enforce strict compliance, guys, of such kind of KYC knowing customer norms. Because if you don't do that, if you do not enforce strict compliance of KYC, now it will prevent the currency's use. For what? Sorry, it is required because it has to prevent the use of currency for all the unwanted activities. So now it is very important that the strict compliance of know your customer norms is to be regulated, because only then we can prevent the currency's use for terror financing or let's say money laundering. Though we say that know your customer details, the operational issues are there with regard to the digital currency issue also. Let us make the KYC norms more strict, and let's get the data which is required, and it should be again confidential in the context that it is not used for any other purpose. So the threat of the cybersecurity or let's say other activities will not come there, because we need to make sure that we have to prevent the use of currency for the proper manner. It shouldn't be for money laundering or terrorist financing, which can cause a lot of other issues. You got the point. This is another important way forward to be followed, to make sure that if we are in a hurry to launch digital currency or let's say digital rupee by the central bank, then this has to be implemented then and there. Clear? And now, to conclude with regard to this particular topic, what could be the role of RBI? That is also way forward actually. See, the central bank of our country, India, RBI, must do its homework. We know that cryptocurrency coming under the blockchain technology, whatever, okay, it will be used to run the digital currency, no doubt in that. Yes, we're going to make this particular technology the legal tender. Or let's say cryptocurrency a legal tender. So now this technology, whatever, it will be used to run the digital currency. So we will need to balance the often conflicting goals of speed, scalability, auditability, security, and privacy. These factors have to be coming under the direct purview of RBI, because privacy is very important, security is very important, continuous auditing and or monitoring is again very important, and also to see how far fatafat it has been done. And the scalability, if it is reaching everyone. All these things comes directly into the purview of RBI. Only then you can implement it at a faster pace. Otherwise, no. Because RBI is the central bank of a country, India. They are the monetary authority indeed. You understand? So now taking into consideration the vast digital divide a country India is having, given that a protocol for offline use has to be worked out. Yes, it has to be. So rushing the implementation of what should ideally be a multi-year project may be fraught with unnecessary risk. So let's take a little more time, but little more doesn't mean 5-10 years. Have a detailed understanding, have a detailed plan, and then go for implementation. Let's not rush it, because rushing the implementation of the CBDC, Central Bank Digital Rupee, which should be ideally a multi-year project, come on, it will associate, or let's say it will accompany a lot of risk. So let's solve risk one by one at the earliest and then go for a hurry implementation, because we all want to make sure that we're heading of the China's so-called, e-yuan, or let's say the electronic currency they are bringing in. And this is the main reason, guys. No doubt in that is the main reason. So let us, keeping that in mind, overcome the other issues, because for our country, India, we got to think from multiple other perspectives also. You got the point. So this is what they should do to make sure that the launch of central bank's digital currency is a success, because we do not want the challenges to overrule it. So the only point here is hasty, or let's say fast implementation. That has to be reconsidered, and we need to have it, but let us do it on a pilot basis, and then another 6 months, or let's say in 1 year, we can go ahead with it. Not then and then tomorrow you're going to implement it. You got the point. So this is the way you need to understand this particular topic. Clear? Thank you so much, bank officers. We are done with the amazing topic, India's digital rupee, the challenges and opportunities, with the amazing way forward as well. So don't forget to put forward your valuable feedbacks. And now you tell me, such kind of digital rupee, do you think we need to implement it at the earliest, like how it is announced in the budget, or let's go for a little more time? And this little more time is not just for the sake of 2 to 3 months, rather to solve all the challenges or issues associated with issuing such kind of digital currency rupee. Because if you do not do that, then there is no point. Kya fayda hai yaar? Come on. That is to be understood, hai na? That is something to be really understood. Clear? So yes, that's all for the day, my young officers. I hope you really enjoyed this session. So see you all at 6 p.m. in the evening for the UPSC level MCQs with a 360-degree coverage, guys. And use the code Nisha IAS Live. Don't forget. Okay. Yes, you can put forward your viewpoints here. What is it, Soham? Ma'am, next day bring AS and put topic. I didn't understand. Could you please come again? I didn't understand. Yes, Deepesh, we should take time, and a number of homework deeply should be done. See, that is why I said RB has to do a lot of homework. Without a homework, you cannot do. Just like, see, you are going and writing a UPSC examination. Without a proper homework, if you go, what is the result? You all know it better. So, but with a proper homework and preparation, come on, the results can be, can be a wondrous one. You got the point. Simple as that. Yes, so science and tech topic. Yeah. What topic you want? Just let me know, so I'll take care of it. I thought of bringing the delimitation of Jammu and Kashmir tomorrow, because that's a good topic. Delimitation of J&K is a topic to be understood in a better manner. So I thought that has to be brought in. Yes, team amount, trials and then implementation. Yeah, see, trials means I will put it forward as pilot study, like how the other countries are doing. See, they are putting under pilot study. If other countries are doing it in a pilot study, then why can't we do? See, all the Scandinavian countries also, they are implementing it. Some have done it, some are doing it on a pilot basis. So we can also do the same thing. But the whole point is what India, keeping in mind China's perspective, fatafat we are hurrying, or let's say we are rushing for the implementation. But I'm very sure that, guys, see, our government is not that ridiculous that they will do it like that. They will make sure that they will analyze all the issues and challenges, then they'll find a way forward. Without that, they will not implement it completely, because they also know at the end of the day, who's going to bear the risk? The government. They have to again, fight back for it. So they will make sure that they are kind of able to solve all these issues, and then only they'll implement it. They're also smart enough. Because at the end of the day, they're ruling us here. So we need to understand that at least. Yes, so give an answer right on this. Okay, let me give a question for you people on the very same topic, so you'll be able to write it in a better way. Don't you think so? You can just take it forward. That's a good question asked by you as well, Sohan. Okay, you can write it. And one more thing from the prelims perspective, economic development, digital rupee, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, CBDC, RBI are the key topics to be understood. Clear? For the mains, the CBDC. Then digital rupee, arguments in favor or against, you got to understand. And this particular topic was taken based on the article, guys, on Live Mint. Okay, on February 9th, it was published in Live Mint newspaper. That is, RBI shouldn't rush the launch of India's official digital rupee. Take a time, do a pilot study, and then rush. So based on that particular article, which is published in the Live Mint on February 9th, only this particular topic is being taken. Clear? I've told you the source also. So you can even refer back to that. So you can just have a look into it. The question for the mains examination. Please write it. The RBI. The RBI must carefully weigh the pros and cons before launching the digital current rupee, remaining mindful of the various issues. Comment. I repeat, the RBI must carefully weigh the pros and cons before launching the digital rupee, remaining mindful of various issues. Matlab, taking into consideration the various issues. So comment on the statement. The same thing what I've taught you from the first slide or the last slide can be made as an answer, because that is actually prepared in such a way a 360-degree coverage with regard to the UPSC mains answer writing as well. No doubt in that. But don't copy the same thing. You learn it and write it in your own words as well, the same points. Clear? But you can study the same thing for your exam. That is a different thing. But this can also be done. Clear? So we can write the answer and get sent in the group also. I will evaluate. Do not worry. Take in the Telegram or in the WhatsApp. Telegram you can do. No issues. Is it very clear, all of you? Perfect. Chalo. So I'll see you all at 6 p.m. for the UPSC level MCQs question. And now the link is already shared in the app. I hope it is visible for all of you. Go to Unacademy app. The 6 p.m. link is there. I'll also share it across to you by Telegram and other platforms. But make sure that you're sharing it among your friends and colleagues. And do come to take the mock test series there with a proper 360-degree coverage explanation and also the K-easy technique, which is indeed very important. So yes, how was today's session? Did you enjoy India's digital rupee? A lot of information has popped up into your brains, right? So make sure that you are following it. Yes, Danya? Chalo. So don't forget to like the video and also put your valuable feedbacks in the comment box once the live streaming is done. Clear? So yes, once again, have a great day, my young officers. It's Monday morning and Monday you got to start your week fresh. Day fresh because the entire week is over there for you people. So once again, a happy morning to all of you. And make sure that you're getting all these notes and other perspectives from the respective Telegram and WhatsApp group and revise it. Clear? So, chalo, see you soon for the evening class and also tomorrow morning 6 a.m. with another interesting topic. Till then, bye-bye. Thank you. Take care and Jai Hind.